Did you know that you don't have to pick one thing, like ever? It's okay to like multiple things. It's okay to be passionate about multiple things. Have you ever heard the term multiple passion person? Probably not. I didn't hear it until recently, and my whole mind blew up, which led me to create this YouTube channel. Here's what a multi-passion person is. You probably struggle to know exactly what it is that you want to do in life. You probably have a million things that you want to try and get your hands on and dabble in, and maybe you're passionate, fully passionate about all of those things. That's okay. Did you know that there's a lot of people that feel that way, but the common way of dealing with things is to say, hey, pick one thing and go with that one thing, because that's the way it's supposed to be. Our brains are not built that way. Our brains are not built to have one thing that makes us completely happy. If you watched my last video, I talked to you about hierarchy of needs and all of the little things that we need and the big things that we need to be fully fulfilled in life. Nowhere in that is you have to have one passion and stick with it, and that's just going to make you happy forever. Your mind changes, your life changes, your experience changes, and all of those things come together to create the things that you love to do. Multi-passionate people kind of get a bad rap. They get accused of being hyper-focused. They get accused of being lazy. They get accused of being crazy and all over the place. What's funny to me is I branded my HR as hippie HR because I was always evolving and changing around whatever the employees needed, around what was going on in the world, and it was always evolving, always changing, and I wanted that to be front and center in my life, that I was open to change and different things. Lo and behold, that's normal. It's not special. You have all these passions, you have all these things. What do you do? What do you pick? The answer is nothing. Don't pick any of it. Do all of it. I picked a million different things to do. I really enjoyed makeup when I was younger, and I enjoyed arts and sciences and all things creative. So I did those things. I studied psychology. I went to school for makeup and skincare. I did that for a little while. I worked at tattoo shops for a little while. I did a whole bunch of things. At the time, I just felt like I was a lost person floating around the world, and like everybody else knows what it is that they want to do. Why don't I? Truth is that I'm just a multi-passionate person, and I need to put myself in a position where I can do multiple things. So how do you move forward with that? Here's what I recommend to get yourself organized, because you do have to be organized if you are a multi-passionate person to get anything done. I have 2 whiteboards in this room. Camera angles do wonders. This is a very small room. So on the other side of the camera, it kind of looks a little chaotic, but it works for me. This is my process. So whiteboard number 1 is for my company that I work human resources for. That's all the projects that I have going on. That's all the wish list items that I have, the things that I need to get done throughout the week, throughout the month, phone calls I need to make, all that kind of fun stuff, typical work stuff. And then on the other side, I have a whiteboard that is all HR Psych, and all of the ideas that I have for videos, what I would like to do for teaching programs and paperwork and things that I want to get out there in the world. The second thing that I would recommend that you do is give yourself work hours like you would for anything else. So for me, it's kind of easy. Typical Monday through Friday, we'll say 7-ish to about 6-ish, which seems like a long day, but I promise it's not, is my regular job in HR. And then any hours after that and on weekends is HR Psych time. Thing number 3, don't be hard on yourself. It's okay if you're passionate about something today and tomorrow you're like, you know what, this really isn't for me. That's part of being a human. You experience life, you realize, you know what, I don't really like this. So it's okay to change your mind. Don't feel bad about changing your mind. Number 4, the thing about being multi-passionate for anyone, you have to get the bills paid, right? You can't just quit your job and go off trekking around the world, or maybe you can. Maybe you're in that situation. But the average person can't. So don't quit your job. Don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything massive. So I worked in makeup for a long time and skincare. I got my license in it. I did that for a couple of years, and before I went crazy and bought like the best equipment and the best makeup and applicators and all of this stuff, and really got really expensive into this thing, I gave myself a couple of years like, is this really what I want to do? Is this what I want to spend my time with? It took probably a solid 2 years for me to realize this is not what I want to spend my time doing. 1, I was never really that good at it. And 2, I needed something different. The other thing that I do for myself, I have deleted from my phone every shopping app, everything that makes it convenient to buy something. So that might sound crazy because I think everybody has Amazon on their phone now. I've deleted it all. So what I found myself doing is when I had a passion, I would go nuts. I would, this is kind of shameful. I would load up my cart full of stuff that I probably couldn't afford and didn't really need or know how to use. And I would just buy it impulsively at 3 o'clock in the morning when I couldn't sleep and say, yeah, they said on this YouTube channel that I need this thing to do this hobby, so I'm gonna buy the best one. And I ended up surrounded by all of this stuff. I was spending all this additional money on things that maybe were passions for a couple of days, couple weeks, couple months. And then what do I do with all this stuff that I spent this money on? It didn't allow me time to really think about what I wanted to do. It's no different than my boards in here, my idea boards. If you're shopping at all online, put it in your shopping cart and leave it alone for 2 days. And if in 2 days you still think you need that thing, then buy it. Give yourself the time to say, am I being impulsive or not? Well, had I done that, I wouldn't have ended up with half of the shenanigans that I have. Be mindful of what your passion is telling you to do, because sometimes it drives us down paths that are just not healthy for us mentally or financially. The other thing that I would recommend, slow yourself down. And I know that that's hard to do for multi-passionate people, but if you slow down enough to write everything out that you want to do. Write it all out, leave it alone. Don't touch it, don't reread it, don't anything. The next day, come back to it and read it. What idea brings you happiness? You've gotten the list maybe from 30 down to 20. Now you have to look at it and say, what are the things that are realistic for me to do now? The time to do, have the means to do, have the energy to do. It was easy and free for me to record a video. Second that it becomes a problem, I have to reevaluate the whole thing. I'm not gonna quit doing it, but I have to change how I go about it. If it's still a passion, if it's still something that's driving me forward. I do not believe one thing makes anybody happy. If that was the case, no one would ever fall in love and get married and have children and have careers and have all of these things, because you'd have your one thing and you'd be happy and that's it. There's a siren. Here's where it gets a little philosophical. When we were babies, we were passionate about everything. We were curious about everything. We touched things. We tried to eat everything. We tried to be involved in everything, see everything, learn everything, smell everything. And as you grow older, the world narrows you down and focuses you. Some of us, for our whole lives, have this constant need for more and don't know where it's coming from. And it's because that shaping that took place as you were growing older didn't really stick. It didn't really work with you. And that's okay. As long as you are not harming another person, as long as you are not harming yourself and it is bringing you joy, go for it. You have to make a decision to embrace who you are, and that's really what this is about. It's embracing you.